Okay, so let's suppose we have the spectator to pick any card. Doesn't matter which one. Let's say they want this card over here. Just remember, I'm gonna put it in the middle. I'm gonna lost it, and you see it's not on top and it's not on the bottom. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to select any random card from the deck, and notice I don't have any idea where the selection is. It's at the bottom somewhere. But this is what I'm gonna do. Now just try to concentrate in your card, so this card may change, hopefully. Is that your card? Okay, so for this technique, notice I have right behind the ace of clubs, a double-sided tape right in the middle, about 1 centimeter, and I stick it in. The problem with the double-sided tape, you have to be careful not to shine the wrong part of the card, because it may be really noticeable. And it is really sticky, so I try to remove the excessive strength from the double-sided tape, at least 50% from its strength. And so it's not really sticky when you have to remove it, because I put it at the second from the bottom. Anyway, the selection must be on top any way you want to control it. And then when I take any random card, I go for a second from the bottom, take it out. Doesn't have to be this way. And when I'm showing the ace of clubs, which is the one it had the double-sided tape, when I relax the hand, I'm bending the selection really dramatically, and I try to hold it in position. Now the reason that I'm actually bending the selection is because when you put it back to back, it's going to be a huge gap right in the edge of the cards, and the spectator will be able to see a huge gap. Now you may use double face cards, but in that case you will have to force the other face of the card. Now there are endless ways you can accomplish this same performance. And when I throw it into the middle, I just flip it over, and I pinch it with the thumb and index. And the first time I throw it, I don't do anything different but throwing it, and push it with a middle finger, so the card may fly away. The second time I do it, I actually flip it, but because that top half is covering, it's not really noticeable, the flipping action, because there is a good covering, at least good enough, because of the swinging and because of the spinning. The top half is good enough to cover. Now there is maybe a little tricky part, which is the one you need to practice the most for the beginning. You can practice using one card, just to flip it over and then throw it with the index and middle finger with the same motion. You see, now the top and bottom half is actually helping me so the card doesn't really bounce too much, because when I was practicing days before this technique, actually years ago, it bounced sometimes. It goes spinning all the way out, you know. And sometimes it flashes the bottom, sometimes it doesn't. I'm gonna do it from the sideways so you can see better. This is what I'm doing. You see? And believe it or not, it's gonna give you good coverage on the bottom half. The tricky part is you need to flip it right under on the cover and make sure it's not really a huge gap. You want the top and the bottom half to be almost together, so it can give you it can control the tossing card, so it doesn't really bounce too much and it's not gonna spin out. And now also at the same time doesn't really flash the bottom. It's gonna help you to guide the tossing card in a sense, but you need to spin it with the middle and then toss it with the index in the middle. It's almost simultaneously, you know, in the same process. The first time I try to do it in a way I don't have to spin it, so the audience know and see the way it looks. If it doesn't fly out and it's gonna get, you know, halfway, that's fine, like that. Well, it will be better and it's gonna look better if it lands over here in front of the deck. And at least always try to practice with one card. You have double face cards, it's gonna be better. Okay, so let me show it over here, the way I toss the cards more closely. The middle finger is right on top. I flip it and I toss it, which is really fast, like that. I mean, it doesn't really have to be really fast. It looks really fast, but it's not actually necessarily from the audience perspective. And the spinning, which is the main covering you have to do, is gonna look really subtle. So this is a grip, spin it and toss it. And as you can see over here, when the card is not folded against back to back, you see there are some gaps over here, and it's going to be really bad for the audience perspective. And that's why, as I explained in the performance, when I was showing this card, I was doing this by relaxing the hand. Okay, I hold it in position so they don't see the bend, and then I push it against so it gets stick over the selection. Show both sides, and that's it. You have the double. Notice there is no gaps on the edges of the card. Because I have a mechanics grip, I spin it and put it down there. And then the first tossing, nothing happens. In the second tossing, spin and toss it. Sometimes make sure it doesn't really fly too far away from you, but at the same time you don't want it to be right under the deck like that. You want it to fly like 3 inches away from the deck. But if you can just make it go the double, at least a little further out the deck, I think it's gonna look better a little bit. Notice when I spread the deck face up, I bring the selection, I inject the selection, and because it's double, I keep it on the hand and toss it by spinning the deck, and I spread. I toss it right behind the table, on the floor, on the pillow, so it doesn't click or in the middle of your legs if you are in a higher table. That's it.